Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at this guy right here, Tanks. The World War II tank skirmish game has a complete tank game inside. It is just a starter set. It comes with 2 Shermans and a Panther tank model that you must put together. You have to assemble it. You can paint it if you want to, but they are different colors, so you don't necessarily need to paint it. You can differentiate them easily on the battlefield, but it is a 2-player skirmish game, so let's go ahead and get down to the table and I'll show you. So here I have set up for you the initial scenario that the game prefers that you go through before you jump into any of the other ways to play tanks. And basically this is a one side defeats the other, that's who wins type of scenario. But it's called Bachmann's Corner. It's in the very back of the book. So basically it just has 2 Shermans, 75 millimeters tanks going against 1 Panther that has Ernst Bachmann as the commander in it. It's a real life scenario from World War II where Ernst Bachmann actually single-handedly held off an entire column of American armor. Here basically these 2 Shermans are going against the 1 Panther. That seems lopsided, but it really isn't. It is based on a number of points. So as you can see here, my Shermans are worth 20 points each, so that's 40. And then the Panther is actually worth 32 points, as you can see up here in the corner. And then the crew member, Ernst Bachmann, is another 8. So during the course of your turn, you're basically going to have 3 different phases. You're going to have a movement phase where the tanks move around first, and then you're going to have a shooting phase where you shoot at each other. Then you'll have a command phase where you'll do some administrative stuff. And a command phase is also where tanks are actually declared as destroyed. That is important because you can do enough damage to a tank during the turn, during the shooting phase, to destroy it, but it still has the chance to shoot back if it hasn't had a chance to shoot yet before it is actually destroyed in the command phase. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So during the movement phase, the person with the lower initiative goes first. And if you look at the 2 kinds of cards that are in this scenario, you have the Sherman that has an initiative of 6. The Panther has an initiative of 7. So the Shermans are both going to move first, and the Panther is going to move second. But during the shooting phase, the Panther will shoot first and the Shermans will shoot second. So it's kind of a give and go there. So here is your initiative, the blue number. The red number is the number of dice that you roll for an attack. The green number is the number of defense you roll, the number of dice you roll for defense base. And then the black number is how many hit points that tank can withstand before it is destroyed. And then down here, the cards have special abilities that only they can do. And so that's something that will play into the game later on. But the tanks during the movement phase, you'll take your movement arrow, and this is kind of the replacement of a ruler or something to that effect. You can move your tank up to 3 times during the course of your movement phase, and that will determine a number of things in the shooting phase for defense purposes and whatnot. So movement is simply placing your arrow where it's touching any part facing in any direction of your tank, and then one movement would be simply making it flush to the bottom of that arrow there. So that would be 1 movement, and then this could be 2 movement, and then 3 movement can be something like this. And then of course you would want to turn. We don't know if the Panther is actually going to be there or not. And then so that you don't have to remember how many times you moved, you place one of these movement tiles right next to it, showing that you moved 3 times. This is just a tile that helps you differentiate, since I have 2 Shermans out here, which one is which, so I can determine easily which one has how much damage. And then secondly here, Adolf's assassin is going to come over this direction and simply move 1 and hopefully get a pot shot there on the Panther if he's still within my line of sight. So on the Panther's turn, he decided to move back towards the forest to take himself outside of line of sight of the Adolf's assassin back here, and he still has line of sight on the other Sherman, so we're going to see some shooting that way, but at least this guy doesn't have a line of sight anymore, so he's only having to face one shot instead of two. Then we would move on to the shooting phase, and in the shooting phase, the Panther actually shoots first. So we look at the Panther's card, and his number here is a 5. So that means he's going to roll 5 dice against the Sherman. You're looking for 4, 5s, and 6s. 4s and 5s score a hit, but 6s score a critical hit, which is what this deck of cards here is for. So the Sherman is going to be rolling 5 dice and looking for 4, 5s, or 6s. Okay, so we have 1 6 and 1 5. So he scored 2 hits, but one of those is going to be a critical hit unless it is blocked. Now the Sherman tank gets to roll defense. Now the defense here is equal to his starting value, which is 1. If we look at the tank here, the defense value is 1, plus however many he moved, which is 3, plus however many the shooting tank moved, which is 1 for the Sherman over there. Now, Gung Ho is an ability here that actually lessens the number of defensive dice that the Sherman movement can award. So he's actually only going to get 2 dice from his movement, 1 from the Sherman, and then 1 from his regular defense value. So he's going to be rolling 4 defense dice against those 2 hits. And again, we're looking for 4, 5s, and 6s. 4s and 5s will block. 4s and 5s will block hits according to the shooter's desire, and then a 6 will block hits according to the target's desire. So this 6 I'm going to knock out the critical with, and then these 2, actually only one of them is necessary, will knock out that hit. So we actually don't take any damage, even though some hits were scored. At this point, the Sherman gets to attack back, and the Sherman has an attack value of 4. So he gets to roll 4 dice against the Sherman. Again, looking for 4, 5s, or 6s. And we only scored 1 hit, but it is a critical, so that is good. Now, the Panther has a defense value of 2, plus 1 because of his movement value, plus 2 because of the Sherman's value, so it's 2, 3, 4, 5. So the Panther is going to be able to roll 5 dice, and we're trying to get at least 1 defense out of those. 4, 5s, or 6s. Oh, wow. What a roll and a half. Yeah, we blocked all that damage. So, there you have it. No damage was done. Now we're just going to double check to see if this guy has line of sight. And what we would do is we would take a line from the turret to 2 corners of the tank. This corner here we can paint pretty easily with no obstructions, but this corner here passes through that building, which is blocking terrain. So because of that, we actually don't have line of sight. If we had been able to paint that second corner of the Panther, we would have been able to shoot, but the Panther would have gotten an extra die in defense because he would have been considered in cover. Then at the end of the shooting phase, we would move on to the command phase, where we could mark any tanks with no damage left as being destroyed. We would also check for victory, which means that if all of one side's tanks is done, especially in this scenario, then the other player would win. And you can also attempt to repair. If you have a tank that has taken damage and you have the ability to repair it on the spot, then this is when you would actually do that. And then you also remove all speed tokens off of the board, like so. and you go into the next round where the person with the lowest initiative moves, and then this person with a higher initiative moves, and then the person with the higher initiative shoots, and so forth and so on. And this is how the game goes until one side or the other has won. Just because we weren't able to turn any of these over, I want to show a couple of them to you just so you see what they do. So basically, this is the name of, this is the kind of damage that was done, the kind of critical hit. The special text, so a target player discards an upgrade card from this tank, and it also does 1 damage. Or it could do no damage, but it gives you -1 initiative and -1 attack, so the crew got stunned. And this is repairable. This one is not. Okay, so that's what this action, this was what that's talking about. Some of them do 2 damage. It is repairable, but it says this tank can only make 1 move per turn. So your engine got damaged and you can't, you're not as mobile as you used to be. The game also comes with a number of different tank cards that are out there. They also have 76mm Shermans that can be used, which have a higher attack value than their 75mm counterparts. They also have Cromwells, Comets. Now this is important here because assault guns actually have another rule that I didn't have to go over here. Most tanks can shoot in any direction, but those that have an assault gun keyword can only shoot in their firing arc. So that's another thing that assault gun tanks have to take into account. Sherman 5s, Sherman Fireflies. So there are a number of different tanks that come in the starter set. Even though these are the only 3 models that you can still use them as proxies for any of these things as you're playing. So it gives you a good feel with what these other tanks can do. Additionally, there were certain upgrades and crews that I briefly mentioned during the review, and that's what these little guys are for. You can see here on the side it says upgrade, or here it says crew, and those are what it does. It basically has an effect that can be carried out, and this is the number of points you have to spend to include it in your army to attach it to a tank or what have you. So that is tanks from Gale Force 9. I think it's a pretty cool little skirmish game. It is probably one of the better introductory games of this style that's out there. Because it's a very simple system. It's not difficult at all. Movement is very straightforward, and there's not a whole lot of wiggle room there. Shooting is, and defense is where it gets a little bit hairy, but it's not that difficult at all. It's simply whatever movement value plus whatever movement value plus whatever your defense value is to begin with. So it's very simple, not difficult at all. Shooting, line of sight, cover, those all have a little bit of cloudiness around them, but again, one play and you're ready for just about anything because the rules are very straightforward. The rule book is well written and easy to understand. It's well laid out. It has a lot of illustrations and a lot of examples in amongst the rules, so it's not difficult to understand at all. Within just a few games, you will have this system mastered, and then you can move on to all of the expandability that it also offers with building your armies and purchasing new tank models and having larger armies with crews and upgrades and all of that kind of stuff. Now, the battle that I was showing you was just a 40-point battle. That's probably about as small as you're going to get it, and still be evenly weighed one against the other. But you can go up to 100 points, higher than 100 points. It just depends on how big you want to play your game. All in all, as far as complexity is concerned, I would probably put this on a Memoir 44 level of complexity, where it has its points that are somewhat complex, but generally speaking, all in all, this is a very easy game to understand and a very easy game to play. So all in all, what I'm going to do is give this 2 thumbs up. I really enjoy this. This is a game that I know I can pull out with both of my older sons. I haven't tried it with the wife yet, so maybe she'll like it, maybe she won't. I don't know. It is, I think, simple enough for her to enjoy it. Not that she's a simpleton. She just likes easier to play games. So we'll have to see about that, I guess. But all in all, 2 thumbs up. It's a great starter set. It's a great introductory level game into wargaming, and it gives you the ability to try out some of those other tanks, see how you like them, see how you maybe you want to buy them, maybe you don't, and you just want to stick with the starter set. I think with just the starter set, you won't have a whole lot of replayability because it's always going to be basically 2 Shermans against a Panther or 2 somethings against one other thing. There's just not a whole lot of versatility there. So if you would want to go any deeper, you would probably have to buy some more of those expansion packs that the different tanks come in. But again, they're not too expensive either. So there is that. This is a fairly inexpensive game to get into, especially for the level of complexity that you can get out of the game. And I think it's cool. So that's it from me. Thanks for joining us. See you on the flip side.